All right, Olof, welcome to the HH podcast.
Thank you very much.
Switching language from English to Swedish,
Yeah.
from Swedish to English.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which seems to be for me a constant conundrum in Riga, the switching between languages. Maybe it's something we can dive into later. But anyways, thank you very much for having me. I feel maybe unjustifiably honored to sit here. But I'm gonna try to give you something interesting.
Yeah, it's really great to have you on.
Thank you.
We just had a small chat last time, and I think you're a really interesting person. So
Thank you.
It will be great to dig into some topics.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just start a little bit about your backstory first?
Yeah, sure. Well, my name, first of all, I think maybe gives away quite a lot. My name is Olofsson.
From Frozen.
Yeah, from Frozen, yeah. I might have the most Swedish name in the history of Swedish names. I am born and raised originally on a farm, actually, on the west coast of Sweden, about an hour's drive south of Gothenburg.
Right.
So, how to say, that also has had a quite big impact on me, just moving to a big city. You know, I'm a country boy, I think, at heart. That's how I was born and raised. But anyways, I'm 25 years old. And as far as medicine is concerned, I'm a medical student, which I forgot to mention. I'm planning to go into psychiatry in the future. That's kind of my goal at the moment, and a goal which I've had in my mind for quite some time now.
Okay, one of the topics that I wanted to discuss with you from last time was that, like, you mentioned something interesting, that like men sit like shoulder to shoulder, but women like want to like have more of this what we're doing right now, face to face.
Right, that's true.
What's the deal with that? Like, do you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a study that I read briefly. So I don't mean to portray myself as some sort of expert here in any way, shape, or form.
But I have heard that too. But
Yeah.
I just don't know like where. Like, I think I heard it from like the Chris Williamson podcast, Modern Wisdom.
All right.
But it is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I don't remember his exact reasoning for that conclusion.
Yeah.
But
me neither. But maybe that's something we can just maybe discuss and try to come up to a conclusion.
Yeah.
With a conclusion on our own. But I think it's also a bit of a touchy subject, of course. You know, to compare female and male. I think also in our times, you know, it's becoming more and more how to say, unclear where the border goes between what is male and female. But I think still we can say some general things. For example, that men and women are different. You know, in to what extent and in what ways. That's, you know, arguable. But I think just looking at maybe neuroanatomy, also for sure how we're born and raised. I think women are more social in their way of acting, whereas men are more doing. Maybe I don't know. I think that's gonna probably piss off a lot of people listening to this.
Well, we can refer to the internet. Here's what the internet says.
Yeah.
For women, sitting face to face is often associated with direct communication and emotional sharing, facilitating a deeper connection through eye contact and facial expressions.
Yeah.
This setup allows for more personal and intense discussions, which are often valued in female relationships. Men, on the other hand, might prefer sitting shoulder to shoulder, such as when watching a sports game or engaging in shared activities, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Like the wood shop.
Yeah, exactly. Or just I don't know really what anecdotes I can have from my own life, but just I don't know, running with someone, or you know, endeavoring on a shared expedition. You know, going camping or whatever it might be. You know, I think. Or just going on a walk, you know. I think it's kind of strange, you know, how just adding an extra variable into our social interactions makes it so much easier. I think you're sitting like this, front to front, like eye to eye, like we're doing right now. It's good, also because we're doing it in a higher purpose of creating a podcast. But
wait, just 1 second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, all good. But yeah, as I said, just talking in this context, in the context of doing a podcast, I think also it's like it is that shoulder to shoulder activity. I think
it's saying like that it's less confrontational and more relaxed. Because I remember that's one thing that Chris Williamson mentioned, that like men, like if you're staring right into like right on a man, like that is confrontational. So it could be something like that too.
Could be, could be. No, but I also really enjoy how to say, just this form of communication of podcasting. It's not every how to say, just talk with each other for the sole purpose of talking with each other. I think especially in our day and age, there always needs to be like an underlying purpose. In what we're doing. So it's very nice, I think, to just sit down and just talk. But yeah, so I think that's all I have to say about that with this face to face and shoulder to shoulder. But it maybe what we can have to say conclude is, I think it would be foolish to try to look at men and women as just variants from each other. I think we're our own independent entities, and to acknowledge that there are differences between us and to treat each other accordingly. I think not to draw everyone over the same line. Maybe.
Okay, one other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is like technology in everyday life. Like that's a huge topic, obviously, but we are both very interested into that. And I mean, I can start you off with a story, because for me, like any other kid, I always had like the like when I was 15, from when I was 10, I had like an iPhone or something like that. And then I took an exchange year to the United States in like 2016, 17. And I was watching like YouTube every day, Instagram, all the social medias, right? As bad as it gets. And then my phone broke somehow. I don't remember exactly how, but it broke, and so I didn't have access to a smartphone at that time. And for some reason, I didn't buy a new one immediately, because I guess I was kind of dependent on the host family and stuff like that. And so I just didn't buy a new one. And I remember going to school without one, and also like they had to call the office at the school when they were coming to pick me up. Like, and then somebody had to find me to tell me that it's time to go home, which is like kindergarten. Like, it was actually a really nice feeling. And anyway, so I got home, and then I remember also like going to sleep without a phone, which is an experience in this day and age, and also waking up without a phone, because the feeling, like you immediately grab for it when you wake up. And
I know the feeling very well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was so weird. Like, I was so shocked because I started feeling so good without the phone, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, why am I feeling so good without it? And so that actually took me down a rabbit hole, and I started like researching why are we like what's this relationship that we have with the tech companies and all that. But and it go ahead, man. What do you want to say?
No, just maybe that I've had like similar experiences, and it's also something I've been thinking about also a lot for a long time. Our dependence on technology. It's we're really like hijacked. Like our dopamine system is really hijacked by the phones. And I think it kind of goes under the radar. We don't really realize how big of an impact it does have on us. I remember also. One time I lost my phone on the bus, but when I was in Germany, and I didn't because of this I didn't have the possibility to just get one immediately. I also tried, to get my phone back and whatever it was. Anyways, it was like for a couple of days I didn't have any, didn't have a smartphone. And I remember the next day I went up to make breakfast for my fiance, and without listening to any podcast, without listening to any music, without looking at social media, without like accessing my chess app or whatever it is, Reddit, 9gag, YouTube, and just being in the moment, and it really struck me at that moment, how...
Wait, 9gag? When was this?
This was unfortunately not so long ago. Like, it's like my... it is my... the last remnant of... Right now, at least, the last remnant of my... how to say... This, as I said, like this dopamine 2 receptor, activation. Like I try to limit my. I've uninstalled Instagram. I've uninstalled like many things, but I keep. And this is also something that I mean, like it happens automatically, like I have this muscle memory on my hand, that I, this muscle memory to open this website,
Yeah.
And then before I know it, I'm on this stupid ass app for hours every day. It's really stupid, because like especially also that there, on 9gag, it's just brain dead, content. There's really nothing like of value there, on other platforms like Reddit, for example. At least you have some sort of deeper like discussion behind it, sometimes at least. But often, and also like with memes on Instagram, reels on YouTube, it's just short like attention
brain
span.
Content.
Short brain dead content. Adapted for our short attention span. And it's like I'm just wondering, looking back, like just 10 years from now, like 10 years, ago. I mean, rather, our lives was completely different. We didn't have like, or maybe it was starting to come up at that point. But we didn't have this constant influx of stimuli and like notifications all the time, that this like expectation of always being reachable, of always being it's like an old trope now. I think everyone talks about it a lot, but still, I think a lot of people underestimate, they take it for granted, that this has been the development of our society, but it's really crazy when you think about it. Just 20 years ago, our the way that we interacted with our environment was completely different. We didn't have this like device in our pockets. Always giving us the possibility to look everything up at the same at any time.
And also the adjustments from society that comes with this new technology and like tapping into that. Because ideally, like, just because you have a possibility to be reached when you're at home doesn't mean that we should exploit that possibility. Like, I don't know, for me it's just gotten weird, like for example with red receipts. Like that's so personal, actually, like that has nothing to do with anybody, and yet this is being like used like in all of the apps like Snapchat and WhatsApp, and it's like if you're in your bed and you're reading a message, like why should anybody else know that? I don't know, man. I think it was better like you said, when we had the landlines and you had a house phone, and like that was, I think we peaked around there somewhere.
I guess I am in that sense rather lucky, to be one of the last children to grow up without a smartphone, looking at the children today, like, and I sound like an old man, when I say this, looking at the children today, but still, that's what I mean. Things have changed so quickly that even though I'm 25 years old, I'm not like by any stretch of the imagination like old, or for that matter like an adult, but still, like just the world that 10-year-old children are living in today is completely different from how it was for me, and
it's not even like that long ago.
That's what I mean. It's not that long ago. It's like, it's really not. And still things have changed so dramatically in such a short time.
Kids these days.
Like, and I'm just wondering, like, what will be the impact, for our society? How will we act differently because of this? I think one thing for sure is that our attention span has decreased, rapidly. I don't really have any data really to back this up, but I think it's quite self-evident, that we've become more. Our ability to focus on one thing for a longer time has for sure been impaired by by the phones, because that's how that's how they're created. They're created for us to view as much different content as possible in as short a period of time as possible. And yeah, I don't know. It's also like we have to look like maybe at higher motives, as you said, of the tech companies. They're really like, we're really just like, at the end of the day, unwitting consumers to
Yeah,
ads.
because we got to keep in mind, like, the tech companies and their CEOs, like, they have a job to do, and that's to maximize consumption, because like that's how you get revenue from the stocks. And like, you want to maximize, like, that's a metric that they use, how many user hours. Like, just the fact that we're using the lingo users is like, like it's a drug or something.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
No, but it's true though. It's true. Like, the I think we would for sure be like foolish if we were to think that the way that our phones and our computers are created is just like
The way it is.
the way it is.
Yeah.
There's a reason why it is like that.
Exactly.
There's a reason why we like why our apps and our notifications
Like,
and everything.
there's a reason that the notification is red, for example.
Yeah.
Like, people don't understand that,
Yeah.
but it's like when you go very deep down the rabbit hole, you start to like see that everything in those apps are there for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. It's to activate our sympathetic nervous system, to keep us highly dialed in on this one thing, Nothing else matters, except these like Lidl ad that we're seeing right now. Like,
Yeah.
on the YouTube, or the ads for this like stupid ass fucking, sorry for the profanity, but like
Oh, you're good.
like
We endorse that on this podcast.
Like the casino ads that we're seeing, or like whatever,
Yeah.
like it's easy, of course, to just like skip it, but at the same time, like it has an impact on us, yeah, I don't know. So that's for sure something I'm trying to be considerate of when trying to improve myself. It's like it's a never-ending journey of self-improvement. We touched upon it before recording here, but that's one of the that's one of the factors that I'm trying to consider. Just like my phone usage. And I think there has been times in my life where I've made it a habit, to turn off my phone for 3 hours, and then just every 3 hours or 4 hours, just turn it off, see what happens, and then turn it off again. But eventually, because it's like I'm kind of fighting, I'm fighting against like the endogenous system of dopamine. Like
Yeah, you're
it's
fighting
like
Mother Nature.
yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Is like I'm fighting my own brain. My brain wants to have these short spikes of pleasure. And it's like it's in some aspects unnatural. To not do that. While at the same time, it's for sure unnatural to always be on our phone. Like it disconnects us from our surrounding. We're very much like disconnected from the present and our environment when we're always on the phone. It's very seldom that we just take a moment to breathe and just look around. Where we are. We're always like our mind is always on something else. We're never really in the present because we're always thinking about the upcoming, pleasure hit. Whatever that might be. The phone or Tinder or alcohol, nicotine, drugs.
And the thing is, like, the longer this goes on, that our relationship with technology and like the bad relationship, the more you get intertwined. Like two things coming to like together as one, and it's like you can't. It's gonna become harder and harder to separate it, I think.
Yeah, for sure. But it kind of becomes ingrained in your identity as well. You know.
Become codependent.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's like, and of course, you know, like a lot of the things that we're kind of doing in our lives becomes more and more like dependent on technology, you know, like to navigate to school and back, you know, like we're always looking at Google Maps in order to look for a recipe, you know, we're on our phone to look at what we should cook, our entertainment, you know, like the movies that we watch, the whatever, you know, our form of communication, everything at some point becomes more and more dependent on technology, you know, so it's like, it's just, and it becomes harder and harder to live a life without a smartphone. You know, I was thinking about this. I lost my phone again. Like
Berlin. In
sorry?
Berlin.
No, not in Berlin, but it's a while ago, like a couple of months ago, and I was without it for some time. And I was thinking maybe I should just get myself a dumb phone. You know, a dumb phone. Like in
I thought you were gonna say maybe I should just not get one.
Yeah, no, that would be difficult. Like I said, you know, in our society today, you know, but just to get a dumb phone, you know, instead of a smartphone, to get a dumb phone.
I've tried that actually. I tried Nokia's and
right, yeah,
various dumb phones.
Tell me about that.
Just doesn't work, unfortunately. Yeah. It doesn't work. It's like you said, we're too. It's technology's already taken over too much of society's functions.
Right.
Like you said, maps and the tools, right? So like the bank stuff, right?
Yeah.
For example,
I know what you mean.
Like bank ID in Sweden,
yeah.
With how you identify with fingerprint and stuff.
Yeah.
Then you would have to carry around like a bank.
This
I don't know, bank dosa.
Yeah, this little whatever it's called. Yeah.
With physical buttons.
Yeah, I have this actually at home, so it's like it would not be impossible for me to do this, I guess. But at the same time, yeah, you know, I see what you mean.
Yeah, but it's not only the banks though, because now other apps have started using the identification system from the bank ID. So like if you get your mail now, you're like in Kivra.
Yeah.
Like there you have to identify, and almost everything that we do now we have to identify.
Yeah, or school also. You know, like I don't know if you saw this where we're studying at our university.
Oh, yeah.
Soon we will, or I think already, you know, it's been implemented, this two-step verification where we have to have a smartphone in order to access our school website, you know. So that's true, you know. It would for sure be a very more and more like extreme, you know, to take the step of not you know, living with a smartphone.
Yeah, because then you're not only abandoning your phone, but you're also abandoning society. Like
yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's like it would be just you would be an outlier for sure. You know, just a weird, like a bit of a weirdo. You know, but maybe I don't know. Just looking at like everything that I'm experiencing and I'm seeing, you know. Maybe, you know, I'm gonna give it a try. You know, when this phone here like dies, I'm gonna try to, you know, get myself a dumb phone.
There are some smart dumb phones.
Okay.
Like some that actually has like a touch screen and stuff, but
right.
Their functions are limited to like maps and clock and alarms. Like,
okay.
You know, you want to wake up in the morning.
Yeah, maybe. That would be something.
It's worth a try, but I think like camera, that's something that we take for granted too. Like nobody cares around a physical, like a Nikon camera or something.
Right. Yeah.
And so like the idea is, if you want to engineer a solution for yourself, the idea is that you want to get as many of the tools and as few of the distractions as possible. I actually have a video about that on my YouTube channel. So I tried to dumb down an iPhone, so removing all of the junk and just having a clean version of like camera, notes, maps, bank stuff, and then you have to make yourself a promise that you will never go into App Store, and like if you want to download Snapchat, you have to use a different phone to do that. Even if it's just like a one-time thing, like, oh, I met this guy in a bar, let me just for this time. That's a slippery slope.
But that's like as soon as that how to say that like factor comes into play, you know, like of self-discipline, you know, like that's where you fail. At least where I fail, you know, like I feel I had this, for example, this ad blocker app, where I would put in a lot of different, like, like Instagram, like, so they said 9gag, YouTube, etc. But every time, I would just go into this, it would be, become this part of my, modus operandi, that I would go into this ad blocker app, remove this thing that I would want to use it, and then add it afterwards. So it's like,
Exactly.
if there is some way to access this like short-term pleasure, I think.
Yeah. It's like a hinderbana.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can make it more or less like easy for yourself to yeah, like an obstacle course, as you say. Like, you can make it more or less easy to reach the end goal. But I think if there is like, if it's like not, if it is possible to do it, I at least will usually do it. So that's why I'm trying to, like, create, like, for myself, such a state where it is not like even possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, if you're dependent on your like free will and your discipline, you're gonna fail. It's just a matter of time, right?
Yeah, for sure. Because
Like,
as you said, you have to a certain extent, your mother nature against you.
Yeah.
You have your brain chemistry and like, neuroanatomy is working against you in this. Because. Yeah, it's like, at the same time, you shouldn't dumb down existence and life into endocrinology. I think a lot of people have a tendency to do this. They look at life way too much through the lens of just molecules. Happy molecules or sad molecules. Life is bigger than that. But at the same time, something we have to take into consideration. So
Yeah. But let me ask you this. Before we get off this topic, like, did you grow up with a phone in your house, like, so like a family phone or a house phone, or?
Yeah, like a landline we had, of course, and then at some point, I don't know when that stopped, but at some point it became irrelevant. I think by the time I was maybe 16 or so, then that stopped.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they like took that out and gave everybody cell phones.
Yeah,
or it was
everyone in our household just got cell phones, and then I guess my dad's mobile number became the landline number.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, no, that's true. It's like I said, like, I'm one of the one of the last children to actually grow up without this state that we have now, with just social media and iPads and iPhones and
Yes.
whatever it might be.
What was your first phone? Do you remember?
It was like yeah, it was this what was it called? I don't even remember. Expedia, I think it was called. Like, this was this, like, phone that had this how to say,
keyboard
that you kind of flipped out, and it had like
horizontal keyboard.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Those are cool.
Yeah. The kind of like a BlackBerry kind of thing, but it was not a BlackBerry.
AKA Crackberry.
Yeah. And I think, then it just, went to Samsung, and then after that, I always had a smartphone, from the age of 16, I would say, or 17. Yeah. That's, how about you?
I had actually a Nokia first.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, like the one with Snake.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
My mom used to have that.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just add people's numbers.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it was also this. I don't know if you remember. It was like this big thing where you would like switch or exchange songs with each other. You would put the phones head to head and through Bluetooth.
Oh yeah.
You would exchange like ringtones and songs and shit.
I almost forgot about that.
Yeah. No.
It was a kind of a short time that lasted.
Yeah.
That was things moved so fast.
Yeah, for sure. Man, like naivety, maybe you could say. Like, we were all like very hopeful and excited for this, technological breakthroughs that we kept having.
Yeah.
But at some point, it's like, not like more is not always better. It's like, I think there is a lot of truth in that. You know, that yeah, living maybe a simpler life, you know, with less distractions is better. Yeah. But
do you want something to drink, by the way?
Oh, yeah, some water or something would be nice. Yeah.
Take a quick break.
Yep.
But, like for your kids, would you want them to have a smartphone? Or do you even want children?
Yeah, I sure want children. Yeah,
Okay.
that's something.
I don't want to be presumptuous.
Yeah. No, that's a good question. Also, I think that in today's society, you know, like not everybody wants that. I think a lot of people are also kind of so uncertain about the future that they're not even sure if they want to put kids into this world. You know, like a lot. That's something I'm hearing a lot. You know, that they're not even sure if our world is the world that they want to put children into, which is really sad in a way. You know, that people are so pessimistic about the future. But yeah, no, I for sure want to have children. You know, I think it's something I'm gonna prioritize above most things. You know, a lot of people maybe want to focus on career. They want to, you know, they want to do this and that. You know, but I think for me, yeah, it's something for a long time. You know, I wanted to have children, and maybe try to raise them in a way that I would have wished I would have been raised. Maybe, I don't know.
Try to hold this a little bit.
Yeah. And as far as phones are concerned, I think I don't know. We'll see how we'll see. Like by the time that I have children, you know, like let's say like 5-10 years ago, how it looks like then. Because I think even at that point, you know, it's gonna look different than it does now.
You mean in the future?
Yeah, like 5-10 years from now.
Yeah.
I think even then it's gonna be a whole different scene. You know, maybe with AI. You know, AI with just this how's it called, like immersive reality, you know, thing. And yes,
that's new this
year.
That's a 2024 thing. With what was it called?
Like I think it was called the metaverse or something like that.
But was it from, there was one from Facebook, right?
Yeah.
But now like this big thing that came now in, like, I don't know if it was April or March, that was from Apple, right? And they had this thing like you know, there was all of these memes and videos of people on the subway,
right? Yes,
like typing in the air and stuff.
You know, it's that's what I mean. You know, it's like I guess I'm gonna have to, by the time I have children, I'm gonna have to do another reevaluation just to see how things look then. But
a yearly or monthly reevaluation.
Yeah, maybe, you know, like things are moving quite fast.
Like it feels like things are moving slower now, but I think they're moving faster, because the reason I say it feels like it's moving slower is because, like, when we grew up, we had, you know, the Nokias and stuff, but then we got the touch screens, and then like once we were in the touch screens, like sure, you have better and better phones, but you're still operating on a touch screen type of environment. Right. So, but for us, since we started with like physical buttons, it felt like it was faster back then.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think what's for sure gonna revolutionize, and I think it's also something that people maybe don't take into consideration, is just artificial intelligence. You know, it's like it ranks up there with, you know, like the fire, the printing press, the alphabet, the internet. You know,
right? Yeah,
it's really one of the biggest impacts that, like, I think we've had, you know, as a society, as a human race. You know, and that what effects that is gonna have, we'll see. You know, like on everything. You know, on our work life, on academically. You know, like I remember early, like when ChatGPT got published. You know, I asked ChatGPT like which specialty in medicine is gonna be the least affected by AI, and it came back and said psychiatry. So I was kind of happy with that, you know. I'm not gonna get replaced by machines, because they haven't figured out just yet how to you know, portray empathy. But it's gonna come probably. Yeah, it's gonna come probably. But yeah. Anyways, to answer your question, if I would want my children to have like smartphones, probably not, honestly. You know, probably not. But it's gonna be tough for them, because everyone around them is gonna have it. You know, so they're gonna feel really weird. You know, but I think, yeah, And at the same time, then if I think it would be kind of wrong of me then as a father to demand something of my children without at the same time living up to my own expectations, you know.
How do we like engineer a solution here? Because like we said, we can't go back to Nokia, we can't go back to landlines without getting alienated from society and maybe most importantly friends, right?
Yeah.
Like because when I tried, I've tried to get off various social medias. I deleted everything after I went down the rabbit hole. Then I've slowly come back after that.
Yeah.
Just like because a lot of our social functions today are intertwined and weaved in to technology. So if you like completely ditch Snapchat, then you're gonna lose contact with some people.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you say that it will be worth it, but then you have like Instagram where maybe someone you won't get any memes from some people that you like, and
Yeah.
it's like because if everybody's doing it, then you're kind of alone. Like that's the issue that most people are pursuing it. Like if everybody was like, no, this is insane, what's going on, I would never go on there, then it wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
Because then you could reach out to people in other ways.
Yeah.
I see a little bit of that happening, a little bit of a change. Like actually, like maybe 20% of people now actually just have WhatsApp or phone number.
Yeah.
That I did not see that when I was alone doing this in like 2016, 17, 18.
No, I agree. There's been like a bigger, I think, awareness maybe, especially among younger users, about the effects that it does have on us. You know, that we are at risk of becoming really very much slaves to our own tools. You know,
yeah,
that's for sure.
I think the first part is just people waking up to that it's actually unhealthy. Like the awareness. Yeah. Like I think with awareness is where everything starts.
Yeah.
And then after that, you can start looking at like solutions. But do you remember the documentary that came maybe 1 year ago, like 2023? It was called Social Dilemma.
Yeah, for sure. That's also something that very much like opened up, made me aware of just the maybe not always benign motives behind the tech companies. You know, they're really, as I said, you know, they're creating it in order to exploit us. You know, in order to what we are paying them with is our attention. You know.
Yes.
And
we are the product.
We are, exactly. We are, or you can say that we are really the products here. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
It's like they have their own interest in mind. It's not like they're actively trying to harm us, but it's just that our interests are not necessarily theirs, and their interest is their priority, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
And if harming us is part of what makes them profitable, it's not necessarily a big deal.
No, for sure not.
Yeah. Because if the thing is also, it's like, sorry, I interrupted you.
No,
but like,
not at all.
The thing is that it's a race to the bottom, basically. So, if let's say YouTube doesn't give you notifications, then somebody else is gonna go in there and take YouTube's place, like TikTok.
Yeah.
So it's whoever is the most violent, let's say, for lack of a better word, is the one that gets the most reward.
Yeah.
So it's a fundamentally flawed system.
Yeah, and I think we can see this with like TikTok. I haven't actually downloaded it, which I'm grateful for, because the way, as I understand it, TikTok is very much, you know, like based on this very short attention span type of reward. You know, this very short like videos, short notifications, short like memes or whatever it might be. No.
Just maximizing everything.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, and yeah, I don't know. It's difficult, I think, to get away from that after a certain point, because you know you adapt to it the way you live your life, but also your brain. You know, your brain really like becomes dependent on it. You know, you feel kind of withdrawal. You feel this dopamine withdrawal if you're not always on the phone. You know, and it's like. For example, like I quit smoking recently, you know, and it's like once I have that, you know, dopamine releaser out of my life, I could see myself, you know, being more and more on my phone, you know, because that kind of fulfills the same purpose, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like
trading one addiction for another.
Yeah, very much like that, you know, very much like that. And the question is, how do we live a life without addiction? Maybe that's not even possible. We all have our own addictions. The question is maybe to try to find addictions which are more healthy. I don't know.
Do you really feel like that, like trading one addiction for another? I never like. I had a teacher tell me like a quote like that, like the sum of all the like summan av alla laster.
The sum of all, like I'd say like
cargo
yeah
is the same. So a ship can carry a certain amount of weight, I guess, and you can fill it with what you want, but it's gonna carry the same weight. So meaning that we're gonna have the same amount of drugs in our life. It doesn't really matter what. But I don't know if I agree with that. Like, but it seems like you do. So maybe you can explain to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I agree necessarily, but it's just
because you said that when you stopped smoking, then you
switched to social medias, or or I think I don't think we're doomed to live like this. I don't think we're doomed to jump from one addiction to another, but there is for sure like a balance going on within our brain all the time. And there's a certain equilibrium, and if we cut off one provider of pleasure or dopamine or short-term gratification, that equilibrium is disrupted. I think it takes a long time probably. I think Anna Kelpke is like a psychiatrist and neuroscientist from Stanford. She said that if you were to do a dopamine fast, where you would cut off most of the identified
Anna Lemke, right?
Anna Lemke, sorry. If you were to cut off most of the dopamine as a providing activities and objects in your life, it takes about 30 days. 30 days. So it's like it's a long process, I think. But so I wouldn't say that I'd necessarily like agree with that. That you're bound to jump from one addiction to another, but you're kind of predisposed to it if you cut off one thing. Like if we cut off smoking, then I have to be, for example, like adult media, for example, like pornography is also a big thing, that like I think is affecting especially men of today's society as well, because that's another, just like short-term gratifier, that really like is an easy way to like just have short-term dopamine release, just like social media, it's just like smoking, just like drinking, just like nicotine or whatever, so yeah, just maybe just at least to be mindful, of the things that does affect, and the things in your life that does, create these spikes of dopamine. Yeah, I don't know.
So what do you think we should do, like with do you think we should change the apps, or do you think like everybody should stop using social media? What do you hang out more in real life?
I think it's maybe I don't know. I don't feel like I'm in the position, to tell anyone how to do anything really, but maybe to find a higher purpose, maybe to find like something that you really like derive pleasure from long term, whatever that might be. If it's a relationship, if it's like learning a new language, if it's pursuing a new skill, whatever it might be, I think that really would undercut a lot of like the gains that we would get from these things, a lot of the gains that we would get from social media, from fast food, from nicotine, from caffeine, even whatever it might be, if we were to have like maybe a higher purpose, like a deeper meaning behind everything that we're doing, and I think that's
so kind of trading the artificial stimulus for a more natural, feel the same.
I would say so, yes.
Okay.
And I think happiness is like by and large, I think a product of a meaningful existence, to have a higher purpose, to have something that is bigger than yourself. I think that's one of the that really is like, for me at least, one of the most sure ways to achieve long lasting happiness. You know, to have goals in front of you that are achievable, and yeah, just achieving them. I don't know. It's really easy for me to say, but super hard to achieve, of course. You know, but I think that's one of the ways that we can, yeah, bypass this like hijacking of our brain through of social media or short term dopamine release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the biggest problem with that is with social media is the friend part. Like, so if we can solve the friends and social aspects of our lives without them like destroying our quality of life, I think that would be very like come a long ways in terms of a solution.
For sure. And I think, how to say, it's like, it's kind of, our use of social media does isolate us, you know, paradoxically. You know, it's supposed to make us come closer to each other, but it really just pulls us further apart. And I think especially for the two of us, you know, living in Riga right now, in a country where we are, you know, from the start already isolated, you know, from society. I think
like not knowing the language and stuff.
Not knowing the language, really, not really understanding the, you know, cultural complexity of the culture maybe around us, not really feeling you know, not really being integrated to society, you know. I think there it's even more important that we strive to uphold, you know, a social context, whatever that might be, you know, doing a sport, you know, playing an instrument, or, you know, joining a chess club, or whatever it might be, you know. Because it's very easy that we kind of have substitutes our real social interactions with these fake. I say this, you know, like really, and I mean it, you know, like these fake interactions that we have on social media, where we, you know, send memes to each other, and, you know, or you know, text. It's like it doesn't compare to just like sitting face to face with someone and talking, or doing something together physically, you know. So yeah, I don't know. This is some of the things that I've been thinking about maybe recently.
Yeah.
Just with this.
Yeah. I mean, this is obviously a very complex subject, and there's so many things to consider. But one other aspect is like just like you said, it's making us more alone, because like for example in Sweden, right, there's a lot of people living alone, the most in the world, single person households,
right.
And I think that wouldn't necessarily be the case if that wasn't feasible. But now you can like successfully isolate yourself in your house, because you have all of these artificial means, like watching movies all the time, or watching YouTube and
ordering food, you know, like engaging in like romantic conquests, so to speak, like on Tinder or Grindr or whatever, you know, your preferences, you know. It's also that also, you know, you don't even have to leave your house in order to like engage romantically, you know, on the romantic scene. You know, everything that every single like need or desire that you might have, you can get it from the comfort of your home, you know. And it's just maybe a little bit too comfortable, maybe, I don't know.
I hope we find a solution eventually, that we can, you know, still meet our friends and do more things in real life. And I think, you know, the Jews, they have a like, what is it, a Sabbath. On Sundays they don't have any technology at all. I'm very jealous of that.
Maybe that's also something you could maybe implement, you know, just one day of the week, on the weekend, you know, no technology. Maybe start from there and see how.
Then we're back to willpower and discipline. Like, that's never gonna happen.
Because we have the system, you know, set up against us.
It's like with candy, you know, like I have a very, like, my addictions are like sugar and video games, maybe pornography, and it's like that's why I don't buy any sugar to my home, like in almost any form, because if it's here, it's going in my mouth at some point.
That's same for
and
me.
Same with video games. Like I've had Xboxes, and I've spent an enormous amount of time of my childhood on that.
Same.
And I just sell. I have to sell them because
Yeah.
I cannot have it in my house.
Yeah, no, I donated it. Donated my Xbox to my fiance actually, so I also
Oh.
don't have it right now.
She doesn't struggle with that.
No, she doesn't struggle with that. She didn't have. She wasn't conditioned like maybe we were, with spending tremendous amounts of hours
Yeah.
on Skyrim or whatever it might be.
Yeah. What video games did you play as teenager?
Skyrim. That was my like drug of choice. My game of choice.
was that the Halo? Like the people like Bungie? Did they create Skyrim?
No, it was created by. I don't even know actually. I don't know the.
Back.
We're
Yeah.
back.
Okay, so Skyrim.
Skyrim, yeah. Skyrim. I have like spent. I don't even want to know my stats there, but I think I spent for sure. It's in the thousands, I spent thousands of hours playing Skyrim.
That's pretty funny. Like I don't want to know my stats.
Yeah, I don't even want to know my stats, and that I think that kind of tells me that I know deep down that it's maybe not too much healthy. No, that's true.
That was your favorite video game.
Yeah, I also played other things like Red Dead Redemption. I don't know.
That's a cool story in that
Yeah,
game.
but mostly just single player things, like where I didn't even have the didn't even have the added effect benefit, of doing something together with someone. I was just by my lonesome in my own little fantasy world.
Playing Minecraft on
Yeah,
solo.
yeah, exactly. Minecraft's another thing, just being by yourself, creating this fantasy world where everything is good. Yeah, I don't know. It's it's kind of sad, that we're less and less doing things together with other people, and more just becoming separate through this like illusion of connectivity. But it's really a false sense of connectivity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think like playing video games with friends was actually like, I mean, when you're doing it with other people, it's not as sad. And it was actually a really good memory.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when it was like split screen. Like I remember playing with my brother FIFA. That was one of my some of my happiest childhood memories come from that. Playing with him. And also like right now I'm playing with my fiance. These video games which are designed that you play it together on the same, like in the same physical room, then it's fine, but just maybe playing online with strangers or playing by yourself without anyone, that's maybe not the most healthy. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's so weird because it really is like, I think the main the thread in all of these topics is addiction and drugs. And it really is like, really is the same terminology. Like you could just switch out like Xbox for cocaine or cannabis or other drugs, and it would be the same conversation. Like are those people really your friends or not? Like for example, a younger brother of my friend, like I was kind of talking with his mom about this, and she was like defending him, like, oh, but he actually has like friends on there, like he's playing with his internet friends. But the thing is, like, would those actually be his friends if he didn't play video games with them?
Right.
Probably not, right?
No, it's like they share the same, addiction for sure, and it's I guess that's the thing, it's like you kind of form your social interactions a lot also depending on that, like and I think coming back to smartphones and social media, it's not really something that you can do together with someone else. It is in its nature a very solitary like activity, and it's not like you can use social media together with someone. You're supposed to do it alone.
Have you ever done that? Like watched short videos with like you didn't use TikTok, but you used.
I mean, with my fiance maybe that's something we do maybe.
Does that work?
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of annoying that when only one person controls, the thing, and I'm like, oh, this is really interesting, and then she skips it, But I guess it is kind of possible to do it together. But I think it's also how it's created, like as you said, we're the products here, we're supposed to there's supposed to be as many consumers as possible, as many products as possible, you know. So it kind of doesn't make sense, you know. It's not created in that way, you know, that we do it.
Wouldn't the algorithm get like confused if you're both
Yeah,
giving it feedback?
yeah, exactly. Then
the bipolar person.
Yeah, exactly. You know, borderline personality disorder, like we have. Yeah, no, but no, for sure. So that's how it is, you know. But that's also like, you know, like I said, you know, like in order to bypass or come over these addictions that we have in our lives, we need to have some sort of higher meaning, higher purpose, and it's something that maybe a lot of people are lacking in their life. I can for sure say that I, in a sense, do that, you know, to an extent at least. You know, I lack this higher calling, this higher meaning. You know, it all kind of becomes meaningless, you know, nihilistic in that sense, you know. And
Yeah.
I think
that was a big topic on my last podcast,
nihilism.
Yeah, purposelessness.
Yeah, for sure. And
hopelessness.
Yeah, and I think social media plays a part in that, you know.
And how?
Well, it becomes we lose motivation, I think, in a sense, because much of the pleasure that we receive through these short-term gratification, and at the same time, you know, I think I don't know if it was Seneca or one of the Stoic poets at least said that, you know, comparison is the killer of joy. And that for sure, like a big part of what social media is about. I think more and more it's become, you know, this like short attention hijacking, you know, thing with the memes, you know, like just scrolling through these like short, you know, dopamine releasing videos, you know. But also, of course, it's just looking at other people's lives, you know, this fake, you know, fake lives. It's not really like that, you know.
Sad generation with happy pictures.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that also kind of like makes you unmotivated to do things, especially if what you're doing doesn't lead to like a short-term result, you know, short-term outcome that you can share on social media. If what you're doing is maybe, let's say, overcoming an addiction, or let's say you're trying to maybe improve your sleep or whatever it might be, there's thousands of things in your life which you cannot really see on the outside, you know. And I think if you cannot see it, if you cannot share it, people maybe in our day and age become less motivated to do it, you know.
Yeah,
because
like reading a book,
yeah, you know. And or if they're reading a book, they're like posting it, you know, like on social media that they're reading the book, or they're on, you know, Goodreads or whatever, you know. They're less and less, you know, like we're doing the activities just for ourselves, you know. We're especially if we get caught up in the social media, you know, we do it for other people, you know. And why would we do that, you know? Why would we do something for someone else? And why would we also like compare ourselves with other people, or why would we care about what other people think about us? Because, you know, I think Aldous Huxley wrote this once, you know, that every person is an island, you know, a universe in and of itself. We can never ever like really understand another person to know what he or she is thinking, or what he or she is going through, or how he is you know, experiencing reality, you know. So so why would we worry about what other people think about us? Because we cannot anyways, you know. It's impossible for someone to look into another person's mind, you know. Better to focus on yourself and just
You said a lot of interesting things there. Not sure which one to pursue.
I think maybe, you know, I really like this like this little quote from Olof, actually, that we're all just islands, universe. Every consciousness is a universe.
Yeah.
In and of itself, you know. We're at the end of the day, we're alone, you know. We're not connected, like as social media maybe would want us to think. We're alone, you know. That's the hard truth, you know. We're with ourselves at the end of the day, and that's really all that matters, you know.
That's true, but in the beginning you said something that I want to comment on first. You said something along the lines of when we're using social media, it's like we're not like these things that we can't see there, right? So the purpose and all of that. It's almost like social media is, and this entertainment is just like some fluff like some foam that it's nothing real, but it's just filling up the voids in between different real things. And the scary thing is that you can fill up your day just with this fluff, this nonsense, and a whole day can go by without you really doing anything real.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, and it's also so addictive. You know, you before you know it, you've spent hours on this, like without really like doing anything.
Anything that you actually want to do.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Yeah, it's not helping you.
It's not helping you in any way. It's just a pacifier. You know, just maybe if you're anxious, you know, it's just like takes you away from, you know, your actual situation. And
like a snuttefilt, like a cozy blanket.
Exactly.
It really is like that.
Yeah.
Like when you're feeling a little bit anxious, you're like, oh, let me get away from here.
Exactly. You know. So I think after this podcast, I'm gonna maybe take a walk home with my phone turned off in my backpack, and just, which is like kind of a crazy thing to do in today's life, you know. Yeah. I'm gonna take a 20-minute.
Disgraceful.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna take a 20-minute walk through the town without any like music or anything, you know.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, you know, it's like and maybe that's like, you know, where we have to start, you know, like just these little short, you know, how to say, withholding of technology, you know. It's interesting. It's for sure interesting. It's something that I think we're gonna maybe see the effect of more and more as the years come by, and I think for me as a hopefully future psychiatrist, it's something I'm gonna maybe put extra focus on, you know, like our interaction between our psyches and external factors such as phones, you know.
Yeah. What do you think, like, to me it seems like what we want to do, the solution needs to be centered around getting as many of the benefits and tools as possible without getting the bad stuff. So like you're surgically cutting out the things that you want to keep, and you're like you're carving out the cancer. That's how it looks to me. Because so what the healthy things that you want is like you want the calculator, you want your camera, you want your maps, you want your connection to your friends, and then away with all of this like malevolent cancerous tissue.
Yeah, one thing would be maybe something I tried a while ago was a minimalist phone. It's like this app that you can pay for, which reconfigures your phone in such a way that everything is black, and you only have like the text on you know, black
like
and white.
Monochrome, right?
Sorry?
Yeah, monochrome, black
monochrome,
and white.
yeah, exactly. So you just have the text. You don't have all these you know, icons and flashy pictures and like notifications like that. It's just the things, you know. That helps me a little bit, but at the same time it costs like 30 euros a month, so or 10 euros a month for 3 months. I'm not sure, but at some point, like, I was broke and I couldn't pay for it, and then I got back into the, you know, maybe that's one thing. Another thing maybe would be, as you said, you know, to buy these smart Dumbphones, you know, which have these very basic functions. But
let me know if you find one.
Yeah.
A good one.
Yeah. You know what? Once this phone here like dies, I might just do that. Okay. But I always, you know, I'm in a long distance relationship right now with my fiance in Germany, so I use that as a excuse to keep my smartphone, you know. But at the same time, you know, it's like, I think if I were not always reachable, you know, if I were to only at certain points of my day be able to communicate with her, it would be more meaningful as well, you know, instead of always being reachable and never really having a meaningful conversation, you know, to instead put time aside where I actually, you know, maybe talk, you know, on the laptop or whatever. You know, the laptop is still, you know, a resource, but not one that you can always carry around, you know.
True.
Yeah.
I thought about what you said earlier, like turning off the phone. It is almost like that is like blasphemy today. Like, how dare you?
Yeah. For sure.
You didn't reply to my message in
Yeah.
within 5 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You must hate me now.
Yeah, that's also something. Uh, yeah, yeah, that's true. You know, we're more and more expected to, as I said, you know, always be reachable, always be on the go, always, you know. Um, I don't know. It's a tremendous pressure for sure. You know, it's for sure a tremendous pressure because the brain does not really realize, you know, that there's actually someone that is texting you from, you know, the other side of town or in another country or wherever,
world,
you know,
other side of the world.
outside the world, you know. For the brain, it's something that someone right next to me said, you know, and it's like it's a real social interaction for the brain.
Really, like even a text message.
I would assume so, you know.
Yeah.
I would assume so that any social like input kind of translates into the same, you know, like basic neural pathways, which we always had, you know.
If your neighbor or your boss is texting you and you look at your phone in your bed, it's like your boss is in your bed.
Yeah. I mean, because I don't, like I said, you know, this with the social interaction, the social media and smartphones is such a evolutionarily speaking, it just happened like 1 millisecond, half a millisecond ago, you know. So I think the brain is incapable of, you know, discerning between, you know, social input, which actually is here in the present, you know, physical, and not, you know. I think it's
like for sure, like with YouTube, then you really feel like you're in the room, with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the brain is really good at that, you know, like. Because it would be, I think, a little bit exhausting.
Yeah.
Or it would exert too much of the brain. I think if we would look at like a movie, a YouTube video, and be able to like acknowledge that here is our reality that we have right now, and this is another representation of reality. I think the brain automatically kind of gets absorbed into that reality, you know. And
you can somewhat tap out of it, like in horror movies, like you can remind yourself, oh, I'm not there. But I think you're right. The go-to thing is to think that you're there. Yeah,
exactly. And it's like you look at the facial expressions of the actors, you know, and it's like like, you know, like the brain still, like, you know, reads like the facial expressions, you know, like on the person, you know, as if he or she was next to you, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just like a lot of things have changed recently, I think, and we need to be mindful of that. Maybe that's all I can say, you know. I'm not like sitting here like saying that I'm an expert in anything. I haven't. It's something maybe I would like to do research in. I don't know, but as of now, I can just speak from my own, you know, subjective
of course
experience.
Okay. Maybe we can talk about like sleep while we're at it. Like caffeine and sleep. So you said you're trying to quit caffeine recently.
Yeah. And it's something I've been trying to do for a long time. I read, my fiance and me, we read this book, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Maybe you've heard about it. It's been
I was actually guessing you had read that book.
Yeah.
You know what? I was actually thinking that last night.
Yeah.
Because you went to bed around 10-ish.
Yeah.
After I read that book, I started doing that too.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, you know.
Like
it's one of the, I think it's one of the pillars also of happiness, is just to have a regular sleep schedule. I think it's for sure gonna get a little bit screwed up once I have children, you know. It's like then that's gonna fly out the window, of course, but until then, you know, it's something I really like. I'm pretty hard with myself on, you know, to go to sleep and go get up around the same time, you know. Because it creates like a sense of stability, you know. We live in a crazy world right now with a lot of things happening, like a lot of pressure on ourselves, like kind of confusing also, you know, like here right now living abroad.
Very confusing.
Sorry?
Very confusing.
Yeah, for sure, super confusing, you know. Because we kind of lack this, as I said, the social context, you know. Like we have to create maybe a new social context for ourselves. But so I think just that really does like it really like helps us along a long way. I think is to have this sense of stability in our lives. You know, to go to bed at the same time, go up at the same time. It's also something, you know, from my own experience in the psychiatry. It's the first thing that we try to stabilize. It's just the sleep, you know. to get the person to sleep at regular hours. You know, because it's like you cannot lack any sort of foundation if you're in this chaotic cycle. You know, so if your circadian rhythm is not being honored, you know.
Yes.
For sure. And also, you know, just to keep in mind that coffee has like a half life of
6 hours.
6 hours, you know, which means that like
caffeine, we should say.
Yeah, caffeine. Yeah, 137 3-methylxanthine.
Yeah, which is in Coca-Cola and other sodas too. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. It's also something I kind of forgot about yesterday because I had a food poisoning recently and got my flatmate. I normally don't drink Coca-Cola, but she gifted me like a big bottle, you know, after I had some GI problems. And I kind of was thirsty yesterday and took a big gulp of Coke, you know, yesterday evening, you know, and then like I was laying in bed, I was really tired, you know, like when we talked yesterday, I was really tired and I just wanted to go to sleep. And then I couldn't, you know, and I was wondering what happened, you know, and it's like, yeah, I just drugged myself with caffeine from the Coke, you know, and it's like, yeah, and it just, like I said, it also used to have like that in mind that a half-life is 6 hours. So it's like if you drink a cup of coffee now, like around 12, you know, you will have a substantial part of that will still be in your system when you go to sleep, you know.
Exactly. The way I try to tell my parents and siblings is like, okay, so because they're always drinking coffee after dinner, like you retards, stop. Like if they're drinking 2 cups of coffee after dinner, let's say they eat dinner at 7, that means in 6 hours, which would be 10, like 1 o'clock at night, they still have 1 cup of coffee in their system. And that's gonna do something to your sleep.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And it's just how to say, like it disrupts, if anything, the REM sleep, you know. Like the REM sleep is where you're supposed to, you know, dream and integrate, you know, like the experiences of the day and to relive them, but maybe in a safe environment, you know. Like I think trauma regulation happens a lot during the REM sleep, you know. You experience events, but you don't have the same emotional reactions to it, you know. So that kind of, I think, goes a long way just to that for sure. REM sleep plays a big part of that, you know. Just categorizing and dealing with the events of the day. And if you if you're, let's say, always go to sleep like caffeinated, or if you always go to sleep with maybe nicotine in your system, or THC or alcohol or whatever it might be, you know, like, and if you do that for a long period of time, you will become kind of crazy because like you cannot dream, you know. You cannot, your brain is not allowed to dream, and so at some point like you will start to dream in real life, you know. It's also a big reason why, looking at in the psychiatry, for example, you know, like sleep deficiency like is so harmful because like the brain needs this, you know, and if it cannot get it in a sleeping state, it will sooner or later get it in a waking state, you know. So yeah, that's also something I've thought about.
Like for people who don't know, REM is rapid eye movement.
Yeah, rapid eye movement sleep.
And that usually happens the later part of the night after the deep sleep, right?
Yeah, it's like intermittent, you know, like sleep always comes in stages, you know. You have superficial sleep, and then deep sleep, and then REM sleep is, as you say, like it's normally during the middle of the night, and it happens also, but also like as you're going to sleep and as you're waking up. So maybe you can relate to this. Like let's say you set your alarm for 6 o'clock, but then you go to sleep again and sleep for another hour like until 7. So then like you're going into REM sleep, but then you're getting woken up again by the alarm, and that's why normally you can remember your dreams more if you get up early and then go to sleep and then get up again, you know. But yeah, it's something I've been thinking about recently a little bit when talking about the physiology or pathogenesis of a lot of our mental disorders of today. You know, it's just a big factor. I think is just lack of REM sleep.
Yeah,
Actually,
I remember reading that too. So, but it was a long time since I read the book, like Why We Sleep. But you said that it was particularly the REM sleep, not the non-REM deep sleep that is affected by caffeine.
Also, of course, I think your sleep in general gets negatively affected by caffeine. But what I remember was just the detrimental effects it had on REM sleep. Yeah, and also, you know, just long term effects. You know, of not being able to dream. It's quite. As I said, you know, it's quite crazy because your brain will demand it sooner or later, anyways. And if you can, like I said, if you can't get it in a sleeping state, then when it's awake, yeah.
Yeah. So you mean that like you would daydream or
Uh,
be
yeah, not necessarily daydream, but you would kind of, you know, become, I would say,
like a brain fog or something?
yeah, like a brain, yeah, for sure, a brain fog, and also like a depersonalization kind of thing, you know, where you would kind of lose this intimate, maybe, touch with reality, you know what I mean, like you would feel more and more maybe a part of what's going on
Like
around
detached,
you.
yeah.
Detached, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And
There's this movie, very famous one, Fight Club.
Yeah, yeah,
It kind of depicts that a little bit
yeah,
because he suffers from insomnia,
yeah,
and he's like, am I awake or
yeah,
sleep? Like
yeah,
something in between.
yeah, exactly. You're always in this limbo, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think maybe I don't. I'm taking over the role as the podcast host here, but maybe we can end it at that because I have a thing I need to go to.
Okay. Okay.
But I really enjoyed this conversation, so that's
Likewise.
I would be happy if I could come back some other time as well.
Yeah, we have a lot more to talk about.
Yeah.
So next time.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Thank you very much, Hugo. Thank you.
Hey guys, if you watched this far, I hope you enjoyed that conversation that I had with Olof. I know I really do, and that's why I do this. And I'm glad to have you along with me. This was a bit shorter than I normally do, so I felt like we only got to outline the problem with social media and perhaps not yet what the engineered solution should be. So stay tuned for talking more about that with Olof or another guest. And I do think he has a lot more to tell. He's very intellectual and reads many books, and I know he also has experience in the psychiatric ward. So perhaps in a future episode, that would be cool to talk about. And then there was some small audio and video issues here and there. But I want you to know that like every episode gets better and better, so there's going to be less errors. And if you have any thoughts on the episode as a whole, please be sure to leave a comment. Perhaps you have a suggestion that what you'd like me to talk more about, or which guest to have on. So please let me know about that. Until next time, see you guys.